Welcome, guys. DanTheWolfman, Catch-Jitsu.com. Ask the MMA coach, number dos, okay? Numero 2, something like that. Anyway, guys, here's number 2. Ask the coach. Thank you for your questions. I'm trying to entertain you over this time. Before I get to the questions, remember that number 1 I answered was about Ian in his 40s, wanting to know if he could actually prepare for an MMA fight and what that would take. Guys, check out that video. Topic number 2 today, I just spent about 90 minutes doing a grappling stretching routine, some Systema like shadow boxing, loose movements to warm up, a lot of ground stretching, and things of that nature while watching instructionals. I finished off, as I usually do, with my 6 essential grappling movements. Guys, that video is on my Facebook page, it's on YouTube, it's on Old School Jiu-Jitsu today. It's on BJJ Fanatics. Just approved it. 6 essential grappling movements. They're essential, and a lot of grapplers don't even know how to do a couple of them the right way. And black belts are teaching how to get up to base technical stand-up the wrong way. It's baffling. But anyway, on the topics of BJJ Fanatics, hopefully soon, in a few months or something, after all this craziness, I hope at some point they will be releasing, and I hope you will support. I did 4.5 hours of footage in the can, Combatives in the Street Jiu-Jitsu. Combatives in the Street Jiu-Jitsu and EffectiveSelfDefense.com by the same people that did BJJ Fanatics with Placido himself videotaping, working the camera the second day. So, also, guys, I am happy because Renzo Gracie, thank you, sir, just reposted, retweeted one of my tweets with my 10 narrated rare submission grappling highlights around the world. Guys, I traveled around the world going with all kinds of people as a brown belt, all kinds of MMA gyms in different places in America, Japan, Thailand, Korea, Malaysia, etc. So if you haven't checked that out, check those out. You, I think, will learn a lot, and you'll hear who the people are going with. Not like the haters online, who never goes with anyone good or they're smaller. Like, no, I'll tell you who's really good, people. You know, they're not white belts. I get all those kind of asshole comments from like white belts and nowadays blue belts that have only trained like a year and a half that think they know everything. It's pretty funny. I've gone with more pro fighters in the world than probably any other human being ever allowed, truly. Because most pros, after 7-8 years, their bodies were beat up, and I did it for 22 years. So, you know, not many people did that. So anyway, guys, I guess that's about it. Thank you, Renzo. On that topic, Renzo's retweeted some of my stuff before. I tweeted other things to other people on my 45, my free 45. Guys, I got to actually get a lot more than that. My playlists are all free, but free 45 grappling instructionals. Actually, some of those are striking at the end. Some of them are MMA seminars. So there's like 2 seminars that are completely free on there. Each is in 3 different parts. But the first like 19 or 1 hour long compilations before it was popular to do so, systematized a system on each position in grappling, stuff people overlook, like case of Gatami, top half guard. Okay, you know, systematically attacking the turtles now in vogue. I'm not Gordon Ryan in my accomplishments, but you know, I kind of put that stuff out there. Front headlock, you'll see a big uptake in MMA if you really paid attention, and a lot of stuff from my front headlock series when I put it out. Quite a bit with little nuanced changes to chokes. Quite a bit follows a lot that even Danaher put in his excellent front headlock series. Even 2 of the leg lock entries, something that's in my side turtle series. Systematically attacking the side turtle series. So, guys, if you haven't checked that out, that's a great way to spend the time in epic old martial arts, karate go jiu-jitsu, sparring, videos, interviews with MMA fighters. Like, I got a lot of content. Guys, go through my playlist, Catch-Jitsu.com, and check it out. Before I go on and on to the Gracies, I always got along with Renzo. I went to his school in 2000. He was like, "Come here, my brother." You know, kind of must have recognized my name from the internet days back in 2000 when I auditioned for WWE. That was the first time I was on TV. Tough Enough. And for 2 months leading up to it, they always put little clips of me on every show back when it was 8.8 million people watching Raw back in the day. That was my first time on TV, but Renzo was cool. He had me work with he's like, you know, street stuff, work with that big cock. He was a cop. He knew I was super, which by the way, I taught my idea of spear technique, spearing someone into a wall, short doubling them, my spear technique that became really popular, who I also emailed to other people that made my spear technique multi-million-dollar business. Anyway, Renzo was always super cool to me. I've always gotten along with Rickson. When I've met Rickson, I've always enjoyed talking to Rickson. I've trained under another Gracie who lost his temper really bad one day, and whatever. I've always gotten along with Hoyler. The few times I've talked with Hoyler, got some nice pictures with Hoyler. Trained at a seminar with Hoyler, Holker, and Helson, I think. Back in the day, did multiple seminars with Helson back in the day, etc. and so forth, and tons of different Machado schools and Gracie affiliated schools and Kaiki, etc. and so forth. And yes, guys, I did gi back in the day. Okay, on to the questions. One from the first video I put out from Cool Libra said, is a blue belt enough to defend yourself in a street fight? I have 18 months training in boxing. Looking to learn grappling. I'm 40 years old. The simple response I put to him was, depends on all the variables now, doesn't it? But if a legit blue belt, like 2 years training or more, not some 3 months take my money program that's currently popular, then yes, one-on-one, no rules. But how many times is a fight one-on-one? If it's one-on-one, it's an ego fight, and you could probably avoid it. If it's an ego fight, walk away. Nike Fu, awareness, de-escalation tactics, etc. and so forth, stuff I talk about in the upcoming Combatives and Street Jiu-Jitsu series. A blue belt in my day meant a lot more than a blue belt now. We train differently. We train harder. My first or second day of jiu-jitsu, at the very end of 96, I usually say January 97, but really it was like between Christmas and New Year's, I think. Here, take down that guy trying to box your head off. Here's how you do a double under outside leg trip, Kosoto Gaki hoist, Gracie style, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Back in late 96, early 97 was how to take a guy trying to box your head off. It wasn't this pussy game, watered down Taekwondo BS the Jiu-Jitsu guys always made fun of the Taekwondo karate guys for. No. So a blue belt back then meant you could actually handle yourself. A blue belt nowadays, still, if it's one-on-one against most people, you could handle yourself. Now, if the guy's a college wrestler, if the guy is a juiced out of his head NFL football player, if the guy is just a awesomely tough, strong, worst nightmare guys that I've used to spar, like Tank Abbott. I was Tank Abbott's sparring partner, or Kimbo Slice, rest in peace, who I met on a Nickelodeon movie, and then saw him a couple weeks ago, and he, hey man, gives me a big hug. And you could actually see a picture of me with socks on because my feet were hurting from my lupus at 10th Planet at Legends with Gina, doing the timer for Gina Carano hitting pads. So, met Gina a few times. But anyway, if it's a guy like Tank Abbott or Kimbo, well, maybe not. But your average guy, yes, if you have a legit blue belt, not a 3-month, here's my money, or internet, give me my blue belt program, yes, a blue belt still means something. Doesn't mean as much. No, because now you're taught to sit on your butt like a baby, infant, and just, technically, we talked about this in the old school versus new school jiu-jitsu. I suggest you look at that video, guys. I talk about all those things. But yes, a blue belt with combination 18 months of boxing, that's pretty good. We don't know your size. Size does matter. If it didn't matter, then why are all the Brazilians on juice? They've always have been. Okay, next up. Who's next up? I think the first one to come in was John Chipman. How reliable in your experience with security were finger locks? Like we say Yubidori, so I assume he's an Akidoka. How reliable is it? I believe it to be reliable. Have I used it hundreds of times like I have Kotegaishi, and sometimes I've used Nikyo or Ayadori? No. I almost used it about 4 months ago. I almost used it and kind of started to put it on for a second. I switched it to Kotegaishi. So I had one of the guys doing this, and I hate a guy doing this, and he started to do this. If I started to do it in my eye, I take it as a threat because he might poke me in the eye, scratch my cornea with his dirty little infected fingers. So I almost did it to that guy, and then I think I thought better of it because he started to do it to a guy I worked with who was an asshole. But anyway, he started to do it to a guy I worked with, and I would never, ever tell someone I would break their finger and shove it up their own ass. I would never, ever say something like that. And maybe because I would never, ever say something like that, then I wouldn't do such technique just in case he goes, oh, cops, he broke my finger. If you do break a bone, there could be a potentially higher liability risk, okay? as opposed to I know I control Kotegishi, so I did Kotegishi for a second on that guy. But unfortunately, the asshole that this guy actually wanted to fight, who was stupid and turned his back to him and stuff. Anyway, I didn't take him down all the way with it or even hold it for that long, but I think I grabbed and thought about doing Ayadori, and it is in my Combatives and Street Jiu-Jitsu. I show it. I think it's viable. I think it's important to know, but if he hasn't really pushed it into you hard, I probably wouldn't do it, because then you can say he was threatening me, assault, but you can't say he already battered you. And now you're using a force that jerk-off nowadays is going to say, oh, he broke it when it's just sore. But God forbid it turns out he has a little crack on the x-ray later. You know, that's what went through my mind. That's why I bailed on it. So yes, do I think it's a viable technique? If you snatch it the right way and you keep your elbow up to watch out for strikes and do it the proper way, not the way everyone does, then, I mean, that's fast. Okay? Yeah. But in general, Kotegishi and Ayadori Nikyo are my go-tos. And gooseneck come-alongs and some other stuff as well. On the ground, that's a different matter. I show, all kinds of follow-ups in all my videos and in the Combatives and Street Jiu-Jitsu with double waist bones and things like that. Okay, next up, I think was... Please talk or do a video on Kimura double wrist lock traps for MMA. I think that's pretty much covered in my Ultimate Hammer Locks 1 hour compilation video that's in the playlist I told you about earlier. I think for an hour I pretty much covered double wrist locks, Kimuras, reverse Kimuras, all that stuff that really I came up with before they called it reverse Kimura. Arm weaves, double arm weave from the back. Yes, I came up with that, and it was used in a Russian MMA fight after that. Catch key lock certainly has become, I've seen about 6 different guys teach that, but I was the first to put that out there, and a crap load of videos, the catch wrestling key lock. I think I've pretty much have covered that. There's also submissions from bottom turtle video, I think 6-7 submissions. I forget what it's called, that I filmed in Egypt, show some of that stuff. But generally, that is kind of low percentage. A guy back in the day used to do it all the time was Vernon White. Actually, even though I had fought Jeremy Horn before, I was friends with Ian Freeman, UFC 41, 43, I think 43. I said, hey, Jeremy, hey, Ian, I'll help you spar, man. I can pretend to be Vernon White. And so I did. And so I got a picture of me sparring with Ian Freeman just 1 or 2 days before the fight. I think that helped that fight become an exciting draw because I would constantly turtle and look for double wrist locks on him, just like Vernon White. I did the very same thing. Yves Edwards versus, I can't remember the guy's name, that hung out with me, and Tank Abbott. I said, man, he's going to be plum clinching. How do you deal with the plum clinch? He didn't really know. So I showed him all my defenses to the plum clinch, and he used, I think, 3 different of them. He used them and at least shoulder shrugged out of them and stuff that I knew he'd be able to do as a wrestler. I showed him all that stuff and was able to make that exciting fight. I think 41 or 43, Yves Edwards versus... I don't remember his name. Sorry. Okay, so next part of that, and closing the distance, how to fight MMA as a pure grappler like Maya or the Gracies. Well, Maya is not a pure grappler. The Gracies have been doing Hapkido since at least the early 70s, as far as I know, and calling it Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. They have a very strong influence, from what I can tell, of Hapkido and Tang Sudo, including even Hoist when he was fighting Sakuraba the second time training down in Hermosa Beach, I think, at a Taekwondo Tang Sudo school. If you look at their self-defense system, a lot of it was very Hapkido-ish, and I think that has always showed. What I call it really striking on the Gracie side, no. Maya has got a good left cross. There was K1 Maya for 3 fights. I guess you forgot K1 Maya phase, but I get the gist of your story. You shouldn't be fighting MMA if you don't know how to strike. End of story. That's it. I don't care. Even Gary Tonin's been working on his boxing. I criticized him on his 3rd fight and said but hopefully he's blue belt level now. He's learning pretty fast. If he's purple belt by his 4th fight, that's pretty good. And people are like, oh, who do you think you are to say that about Gary Tonin? And I said, Gary's confident enough. I think he knows exactly what I mean. If he can go from blue belt to purple belt in 6 months before the time he gets his next fight, which may have not been against another guy I trained with and taught stuff to and commentated his fights, Yoshiki Nakahara, who he leg locked quickly. But even his boxing's decent. I'm sure Gordon Ryan's working on his boxing at least. As far as the kickboxing, the MMA striking, the Dutch kickboxing like he should have, they probably don't have that yet. But anyway, you shouldn't. Now, there are takedown entries, and takedown entries not everyone's doing. Simple ones, overhand right to single leg snatch. I had put a video on that in 2012. Find that. My hand position might have been not correct. I think that got pointed out to me by a good wrestling coach. But anyway, how about the look at the stutter step Kali Judo entries video I have? That I tested that effectively on Lyoto Machida the first time. The most elusive fighter, I was able to do my Kali Judo cross into the clinch and drive him to the wall. The very first round I sparred Lyoto Machida. I said, I'm going to spar as me. I did very good. I said, I'm going to pretend to be Ryan Bader. After that, for 3 months, and I got, he stung on the chin because I was throwing overhand rights and just running into clinches, and he did a flawless victory on Ryan Bader. Okay, next, which martial art is useful in real life like street fights? A street fight is an ego fight. There's no such thing as a street fight. They're street attacks. If they're not criminals trying to rob you, then it's an ego fight and you walk away, or you use Nike Fu and you run away. If it's a real street fight, you pull out your gun. Okay, a street attack. End of story. It's kind of a young person, I'm guessing. In general, though, things that are really pressure tested, boxing, Muay Thai, Dutch kickboxing. I like Dutch kickboxing even better as a base. Kyokushin karate, Judo, Jiu-jitsu, things that are pressure tested. Quickest ROI, return on investment. That doesn't mean that's the only things that will work. Next, what's your experience with Gokar? Did you ever roll with Harry Root? Obviously, I'm a Gokar black belt. Obviously, I've rolled with Gokar a lot. Gokar is amazing. Can move as slow as a turtle and understands positioning, body weight, distribution, and biomechanics. He has done some spine submissions to me that I have no idea what he did. I think throwing a high guard or triangle up, and he's folded my back in half like I felt like I was going to snap in half, literally. And he can do that as slow as a turtle. Gokar is the best top positioning grappler in the world, probably. He can do it with pure energy efficiency slowly. That's true mastery. And I've gone with the who's who list. Have I ever rolled with Heyrut? No, I've never rolled with Heyrut. I first heard of Heyrut back when Rico Rodriguez was UFC heavyweight champ of the world. I got driven from a tryout a week I did after sparring a great boxer, Aaron Brink, a.k.a. his other name, I'm not going to say. And then got taken to Vegas and sparring with Rico in the cage a couple times at JSEC Jiu-Jitsu. He's the one who first told me about Heyrut, and what he said then and what two other people have said since then is Heyrut could have been, and this is when Rico was heavyweight champ, said Heyrut tapped him out and he could be the man. And everyone said he could absolutely be the man, except he liked to drink and party and probably didn't have the best cardio and just didn't care. From what I've heard, that hasn't really changed. I don't know the guy, but obviously if he was that skilled back then, he's probably that skilled now. And last thing, utilizing palm strikes. Palm strikes can obviously be good. I teach tiger palm strikes for on my Combative Street Self-Defense. That's because tiger palm strike, even the first one, is going across, but those are to drag across the eyes. It's both a hit, and these are hoping to find to the eyes or near the eyes to get a flinch response. Other than that, palm strikes, yeah, obviously Basru improved palm strikes can be used, but actually he would use the inside. This a lot, not just this. You can definitely do this and then hook around like this. 1, 2, 3. Unless you're a small statured woman or something, forget all the BS. Well, you can't punch in a street fight. Any fucking self-defense asshole that says you can't punch in a street fight, don't listen to a goddamn thing they ever say. Because, funny, there's like millions of Russian street fight videos. Russians grow up street fighting all the time. And not just Russians, Eastern Europeans, anything that ends in stan, Ukraine, whatever. They fight, bro. And you know what? They punch, bro. And you know what? They don't give an F if they break their hand, bro. And if you're so scared of busting a little, oh my God, my finger or knuckle, you already lost the fight because you're a pussy mentally. So that's usually context to palm strikes. Yes, palm strikes can work. Yes. If you have a position the guy's hiding his head from the punches, yes, hard on hards, soft on soft, whatever. I mean, yeah. There's certain places where you don't want to punch bare knuckle or if you're starting to beat up your hands in a bare knuckle boxing match. But, you know, so yes, you can use palm strikes, but you have to use palm strikes because, oh my God, you can't punch without gloves on. No, that's stupid. Now, you might catch teeth and get an infection, but, you know, that's why I really like Russian long hooks. That's why Russians like to use long hooks too. That's why Fedor and Igor Vovchanchin, the best tournament fighter for one-night tournaments, 8-man, 16-man tournaments, I think. Maybe 5. I got to go over it again. Maybe 5 Igor Vovchanchin. And before Fedor, why do look at my How to Punch Like Fedor video for you who asked that, Shabazz Ismail. So anyway, guys, there's Ask the MMA Coach number 2. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Below this video, send me your questions for your next video. I guess that's probably the best way to do that, or on the original video, but probably on this one below, after you give it a thumbs up, after you hit the subscription and that notification bell. Stay safe, everybody.
How?